Okay, so as I continue doing my Nutballers podcasting here, I don't often do a lot of sports talk, but in this very case right here, I will actually talk about sports, and in this case, I've mentioned some sports stuff here before, but it's not like in a full like a full segment, for as far as like an entire video on sports. In this case, a lot of like all the sports I've talked about was just pretty much NBA. I've had brief mentionings about the Lakers being eliminated in the first round by the Wolves. I've also had brief mentions about why JJ Redick decided to play his entire starting unit in the entire second half of that game 4, when obviously their legs were done and their minds are fatigued. You know what I'm saying? I also had maybe like half a segment of that one video where I was supposed to talk about me reconnecting with friends, and half of the first segment, like the first half of the segment was me congratulating the OKC Thunder, who won their first ever championship. Since relocating from Seattle, and so now Oklahoma City officially has their first title, and it's well deserved. And I also mentioned some about the Warriors, and I've had thoughts about like the Warriors, but not like this though, not like in an audio podcast. So yeah, those are like all of my talks about sports, and most notably the NBA have been really brief sections of these videos. I never had like full podcast segments on the NBA, or as far as like what I want to talk about, in its entirety. So in this very case, I am going to talk about the fact that, well, shocker, Dame Dolla has officially returned to Portland to sign a 3-year deal with, I heard it's either $42 or $43 million. So it's clear to me that he's going to finish his career in Portland. After 2 seasons with Milwaukee where he failed. And yes, going to the playoffs, he was injured. Two straight playoffs. These past 2 seasons, when the Bucks were in the playoffs and they got ousted in the first round in those 2 seasons. So now that Dame has to deal with an Achilles injury, that he suffered in Game 3 in that Bucks only home, well, I should just say only win of the entire playoffs in 2025, which was in Milwaukee. He's most likely not going to play until, who knows if it's going to be late next season or might be the following. So who knows? But here's my thoughts, man. I'm happy for him. Russ said, well, before I get to that, yes, I am happy for Dame that he's back in Portland, where he started his career. And, I don't know why he wanted to leave. Like, I mean, this is what I've been saying. I know in his heart of hearts he doesn't want to leave Portland, okay? Same way with Bradley Beal never wanting to leave Washington, but Bradley Beal has just become a different story now because, after he left Washington, he was there with Phoenix, obviously a failure, and now he's with the Clippers, and who knows if he'll ever go back to Washington. But I mean, I'm assuming at this point in Bradley Beal's career that he's going to be a journeyman, since he left the Wizards. Now, in the case of Dame, he's only been on one team since he left Portland, and that obviously was a contending team in the East, in the Milwaukee Bucks, when he played alongside Giannis. And yeah, I mean they were in the top 5, but he has not played the same, like in general, even prior to his injuries. Like mentally, he's not the same. I mean, he's still the scorer that he was in Portland, in his first stint, right? But I just don't think he has that high spirit and energy, the Dame that I used to know when he was in Portland. So and obviously he's playing with a winning team. He's playing with a better roster, a better supporting cast in general, compared to who he had in Portland. There's no disrespect to the guys that he had before. That's a pretty decent cast that he had. CJ McCollum was a good sidekick that he had. A great scorer, a good jump shooter. You know what I mean. So him and CJ were doing the dirty work in Portland, especially in their only trip to the conference finals. So, since Dame got drafted to Portland, I remember LaMarcus Aldridge was still there, and in those years with him, if I'm not mistaken, they went to the playoffs every year, right? They went to the playoffs. I think in 2014 he got them past. He got the Blazers past the first round for the first time in was it 14 years, I heard. So that's a pretty big accomplishment that he made because of that buzzer beater that he made, to send the Rockets home. What was that, Game 6 in the 2014 first round? So, and let's also not forget in 2019, that same year that they were in the conference finals, the first round, he sent Paul George with the hand on his face, that 37-footer, one of my favorite all-time shots. Just look at it over here real quick.
Lillard, long-range three. That's good. Hit a three.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah, man. One of my all-time favorite Dame moments. And, me and Mario always argue about Dame and Steph. And, there's a clear difference when it comes to being clutch. And who would I trust for the last shot? Mari, watching this video, is she's not going to like it. She's not going to like my answer, but she has to admit eventually that it's Dame over Steph. It's Dame who's the clutch guy. How many buzzer-beating shots has he made in his career? Regular season and playoffs. Steph's only made one buzzer-beating shot to win a game, and that's not even a three-point shot. It's a mid-range shot against a then mediocre Rockets team in the regular season of it was in the 2021-22 regular season, and they barely beat the Rockets. That was the Rockets team, I think, without James Harden and without Chris Paul any longer, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was like a different Rockets team, and they were mediocre that season. And Steph had that walk-off mid-range buzzer-beating shot. You know, not to take away from that. You know, at least he had a buzzer-beating shot. But you know, considering that like he is arguably the best three-point shooter into a lot of people's eyes, or you know, to the general public, the quote-unquote the best shooter or the greatest shooter of all time, I don't agree with that. Me and Rob Parker don't agree with that. But you know, to the eyes of many people, he's the greatest shooter. Then you know, I'm thinking to myself, if he has made that many threes and is considered the three-point king, then how come he hasn't made a single buzzer-beating three-point shot to actually win games? How come he hasn't made a single one? You know, he was close to making one every single time, and it's like how many chances has he had at it? I've seen him, you know, try to do that in Game 6 of the 2019 Finals against Toronto to force a Game 7 after Clay went down with that gruesome injury. What was it, the ACL injury? Steph missed that shot. You know, he's had a number of those that he missed to actually tie or win the game. You know what I'm saying? Both regular season and playoffs. And look, I mean, I think Steph's form is just a lot more, you know, it's more pure, and it's, you know, he shoots in all different kinds of angles, and you know, like, you know, better than how Dame does it. But when it comes to clutch, man, Dame is the one. He's had so many of those. Even those distant three-point shots that he's made, those 30-footers at the buzzer. Let's not forget the one against Paul George in the first round, though. I mean, just think about it. Like, Dame's clutch, man. He has way more clutch shots than Steph, and I know I said Steph is better than Dame, and when it comes to like his creative ways of shooting, but when it comes to clutch, Dame has more. You know, and those are my guys, man. The best three-point shooters I've ever seen, you know, to ever watch, you know, to ever play the game. So anyways, getting back to this topic here, I don't want to go too long. I don't want to make this a discussion about, you know, about Dame just being clutch and, you know, comparing Steph and Dame, you know, like, this isn't a video about that, you know, just to piss off Mari. Nah, sorry. Yeah, this is just more about reacting to, you know, his return to Portland, and I know that I said that I was not gonna return on to any of the group chats, the No Bar group chats. This is the one exception where I went onto the group chat where it was supposedly for the sports one, and with the one that has Nathan, Julio, Russ, Abbas, and Carlos. I just bothered to just say it out loud in there, because I just want to show off to say that my guy Dame is back in Portland. You know, and hey, you know, Russ said in there he should have been a Laker. Nah, I'm alright. I'd rather beat my opponents. As much as I admire them, as much as I love them, you know, as much as I love Steph, as much as I love Dame, as much as I love Manu Ginobili, or, you know, as much as I love Dwayne Wade. No, I don't want you to join my team. As much as I love Danny Green before he became a Laker, I still want to beat you. You know what I'm saying? I want to beat you, you know, despite the fact that I love you, man. That's how it works for me. You know, Michael Jordan always said it. I don't want to join you. I want to beat you. I don't want to join you, right? So yeah, man, it's just you know, overall, I think this is good for Dame. going to finish out his career in Portland. Now, obviously, with his Achilles injury that he has to deal with and going into the next season, Portland's not going to be good. They had Drew Holiday, and it's kind of funny because I was listening to one of the guys, the sports guys, Ticket TV. He was talking about maybe possibly trading Dame for where it was, like in Milwaukee, and so that Dame can go back to Portland. Well, guess what? Ironically enough, Dame is already back in Portland. Since Milwaukee waived him, well, guess what? He decided to go back to Portland. So now I think I made a comment on that video where Ticket wished for a trade for Milwaukee to send Dame back to Portland, like in a trade like that, in a trade scenario. And I made a comment saying, yeah, I think he will play alongside Drew Holiday. They would make I think that Dame going back will make Portland a much better team. And look, now that Dame's back, he ain't gonna play for a majority of next season. So I don't expect Portland to be good with who they have now. Yes, Anthony Simons got traded to the Celtics for Drew Holiday. I think Drew Holiday is a win for Portland in that they need defense, and he's a defensive juggernaut. So with Drew Holiday there, I think the Blazers can it's not a drastic improvement on defense, but at least they can make them solid defenders. And despite that they have despite that they're in rebuilding mode, they got some young players. I like their roster. There's a lot of players I don't even know, with the exception of him and Dame and that former center from the Celtics and Robert Williams III. So Robert Williams is okay. He's a serviceable center. So we'll see, man. I mean, we'll see. I don't remember. I don't know if Jeremy Grant was still there. Wait, was he already in Detroit? I'm trying to remember. I know the playoffs just happened. Detroit wasn't in the playoffs. I'm trying to remember if Jeremy Grant was already with the Pistons, but I don't remember. But yeah. So, anyways, they're not going to be good for the next season. But I expect, once Dame fully recovers from that Achilles injury, and who knows if he's going to be playing the same. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be honest, especially since he's already on the back end of his career, in that how old is he now? 34 years old. So he's in his 30s, almost going in his mid 30s. So, as far as that's concerned, Dame, after Terry that Achilles injury, man, I don't know if he's gonna be the same. I mean, he'll still play good. I think he can still shoot his threes, but I don't know if he's gonna be the same in general. So we'll have to see how that plays out, when he makes his return, be it late in the next season or in the going to the following season. So anyways, I wish Dame nothing but the best as he returns to Portland for good. He's not going to go anywhere else. He's happy there. I'm happy for him because he's happy that he returned there. So, I wish him, once again, I just hope for the best for him. And once he fully recovers, I'm excited to see him because I still have my jersey, of Dame in his 0 jersey. I don't know if he's going to wear 0 still, but, that jersey was my gift from Russ as a Christmas gift. So, shout out to Russ for giving me that jersey. So, anyways, yeah. So you guys let me know what you think, man. Do you think Dame's going to help the Blazers to the playoffs or maybe even the play-in with the way that the West is now? They're so stacked that, it's going to be hard for a team like Portland, especially with Dame, to even try to get into the playoffs, in the playoff picture. The top 6, man, when you get 7 and 8, 9 and 10 with winning records, man, in the play-in, yeah. That's insane right there. So anyways, let me know what you guys think, man. You know, I can't wait to see Dame back on the floor as a Blazer. All right, peace.